One of the coolest things about the profession of a performance coach is being able to connect with other coaches. How do we learn? How do we develop? It's all about reaching out, seeking other opportunities to see other people work and do great things within the profession. So we're fortunate to have Dalton here from University of California, Irvine, and we're going to talk about some of the differences and some of the similarities between collegiate and professional athletes. Dalton, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi there, I'm Dalton White. I'm the Assistant Director of Performance at UC Irvine. I predominantly work with the men's basketball program and our distance runners. I'm going on my 4th season with the men's basketball team.
One of the coolest things about this is multiple sports gives you a robust well-being and a training to develop maybe down the line. I started my career in collegiate sports and in high school athletics. I've worked with every sport imaginable. If you want to learn about the ankle, you work with basketball players. You want to learn about the shoulder, you work with swimming athletes, volleyball athletes, overhead throwers like pitchers, baseball, softball. So the cool thing that I would like to start out, the similarities, because anatomically, Dalton, there's similarities between whether you're a 20-year-old athlete or an incoming freshman at 18 and a 35-year-old all-pro defensive end. So what are the similarities you've kind of found by working with multiple sports?
The biggest thing is that we're all human. We have the same anatomy, the same physiology. There's slight differences based on gender, training age, other things like that. All of those things are being considered, that generally our athletes aren't as well trained as an NFL athlete. And also the culture around strength and conditioning in a lot of sports is very different than it is in football. So me convincing a basketball player to lift like a football player might get me somewhere with certain athletes, but it also might stop me dead in my tracks. I would say beyond that, it's probably more similar than we would think it is different at this point, especially with where name, image, and likeness and other financial aspects of college sports are, in this day and age.
Absolutely. I'm glad you touched on that too, because it used to be what was different, the parking lot, because you would walk through and there's really expensive cars in an NFL facility. You're starting to see that in college. The other cool thing, I love that you touched on culture, because what's the culture surrounding? Why are we preparing? We had a really big team lift. You saw it in here. We had a lot of energy. Our guys are getting amped up because they know that's going to prepare them to help them play football. But some of the similarities is developing that culture behind training, because what's their motivation? And ultimately, I think the thing that we both share in common, we have to find the why. We have to find the motivating factor behind every athlete. And no two athletes are the same. So we're going to have to communicate differently. We're going to have to draw on those motivations and make sure we push them. So what are some of the common maybe whys or motivations that you found with some of the college athletes?
Yeah, definitely. Most of them come in with a love for their sport, a love for competition in some way. We try to foster a culture of competition here. I mean, if someone spills a Gator out on the floor, it's a race to see who can clean it up first. Like, we're trying to get every opportunity to compete is where I want our kids to start focusing their attention. I noticed competition breeds intent, and intent brings progress along our programming. So the love for their sport, their ability to continue to play at a high level, a lot of our athletes, it's their way to getting into a phenomenal institution. So there's financial-wise now with name, image, and likeness and scholarships in school. There are educational-wise for kids to be here to get a great degree along the way. And then there's very competitive athletes that just want to keep competing. So say financial, education, and competition.
I love that. And this is important to touch on, the competitive nature. Why? Life is a competition. No matter what you do, the people that I've seen achieve really, really elite things in life, some of the CEOs, the business people who have changed the world, they've started in team sports, team-based sports. Why? You learn the social aspect. You learn the competitive aspect. You learn how to work amongst a group of people for a common cause. There's no greater feeling than working with a team towards a common goal, but within that, having healthy competition. And I believe you have to have athletes that are willing to push each other in a healthy, competitive manner and still support each other. That's the key difference. But the people that are successful in business share those same qualities. Now, how about some of the comparisons? So you see different sports, basketball versus distance running. How are you approaching some of the differences in the training atmosphere and also just the training stimulus from some of those sports?
Definitely. We meet the athletes where they're at, first and foremost. Is our cross-country team might be way less trained than our men's basketball team. Our men's golf team might be way less trained than our women's track and field team. It's just the nature of the sport, the culture that they come from. First and foremost, we're looking at where their training age is, what their training level, and how we can meet them in a weight room and systematically place challenges that we know they can overcome. That's really what a strength and conditioning coach is at the end of the day. Is like we try to plan the right challenge, whether that challenge is a stress to induce a stimulus that we have to recover from, or whatever the challenge is. Maybe it's just a little bit of suffering. I think there's great value in shared suffering for a team. So really meeting them where they're at, placing those incremental challenges in front of them, and then taking the time every now and then to say, this is where we are right now. Let's take a look back where we were 6 months ago, 2 years ago, over the course of a 4 or 5 year athletic career. And when you show them the investment that they've made into their body, into themselves, how far they've come mentally, physically, emotionally, around their sport, that's when the buy-in goes to 100 and you're able to really start to work with that athlete. All the cliches they're cliche for a reason. Athletes don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Psychology trumps physiology. I mean, that's what it is. You start with the person, you convince them that what they're doing is beneficial, and then once they ingrain that in their own character, you got them for life.
Yeah, I love that.
They're going to be with you, yeah.
I love that. And it's mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
When you attack adversity, you don't shy away from it, because here's the fact, we're all going to face it. We can do that in a microcosm type of way, in the weight room, on the practice field. You introduce those challenges, you introduce those tough times, and then you see how you can respond. You can see the challenge or you can see the opportunity, and the people who typically see the opportunity continue to succeed. So, Dolan, it's been a pleasure getting to know you, man, watching you work. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's great to have you guys on campus. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Yep.